Good morning, everybody. I am Nick Dreesen. I am the president and founder of Families United Action Network. And throughout the election cycle, we have sent out a candidate questionnaire to all of the candidates. Been trying to get together with them for a cup of coffee or to their events, but obviously this year is a little bit different than normal. So we've been inviting candidates to join us for Zoom meetings, which I'm really enjoying as it gets us a chance to not only get to know the candidate, but them to get to know us, as well as for you, the voters, to also be able to see the discussion and to get some information out of this as well. So FAWN, or Families United Action Network, our mission is to preserve and protect children and families through repairing and rebuilding current structures and organizations by creating a solid foundation for Iowa families and the next generations. We do not endorse any candidates. This is just a chance to ask some questions and get to meet the candidates. And today we have been joined by Jesse Green, who is running for Senate District 24. Is that correct? Okay, so welcome, Jesse. We definitely appreciate you taking time out of your busy campaign schedule this morning to talk with us. Welcome. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run for office.
Yeah, you bet. Well, thanks for having me. And I'm a fifth generation farmer. This is my first time running for office, for public office. I'm 35 years old, but up to this point in my adult life, I've served many years at the Dayton Rodeo. It's the third largest rodeo in Iowa. It's over 80 years old, and I was honored to be the youngest chairman in Dayton rodeo history. And during that time there, we made a lot of investments and a lot of improvements to the facilities, and our rodeo grew pretty tremendously. And I've also served at the Webster County Farm Bureau for many years, and I teach Bible at a local private school currently at a community Christian school in Fort Dodge. I just teach one class for the junior high students. And the last couple of years, I've been studying online through Emmaus Bible College and Iowa Central. I took a break this semester to be able to focus on the campaign. But yeah, so my life has been defined by public service, and so I think this is going to be a good fit for me. The reason I'm running is my county supervisor asked me to run. I probably would not have ever thought about running without his prompting. So I'm honored that he would think that I have the skills to be able to do this, and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. I can't wait for the election to be over with. So.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of at that point here. We're in that final 11-day push. So now, if I'm correct, this is an open seat. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Jerry Bain held it previously. He held it for 24 years. So yeah, so in the primary, there was 4 of us Republicans and 2 Democrats. And so to come out of that field, it was a very contested primary, and I'm honored to have come out of that battle. So.
Well, congratulations on the good hard work so far. Jesse, do you have a website? If somebody's looking to get a hold of you, if they want to volunteer, they want to donate, they just want to learn more information about you, what would be the best way?
Yeah, so there's greenforiowa.com, and I also have a Facebook page. I don't have the Facebook link with me, but
okay, and that's FOR?
Excuse me?
That's FOR? Okay, so that's green, no E, so GREENFORIOWA.com is the best way to get a hold of Jesse if you're looking for more information about him. Now, Jesse, to get started here, again, we got you the questions ahead of time. We are dealing with, family preservation, family law reform, custodial divisions, child protective service separations. Would you have any opening comments, any personal experience, any background on this yourself?
So this, a lot of this, looking at some of these issues is pretty new. I've got a couple friends, that have, gone through some really tough situations, and divorces, split family situations, and so I think we've all been impacted by this issue, certainly. And I thought a couple of the questions were very thought-provoking. I'm trying to get the questions up here, so I've got some of my answers, but I don't have as I was thinking about them. But yeah, this is a very sensitive topic and a very important topic, and I really look forward to hearing your guys' takes on things. So.
Okay. Now, Jesse, to get started with our actual questionnaire, when you're looking at the judicial system, especially whether Child Protective Services or a custodial division, they like to use the best interest of the child standard, but there is no actual definition of that standard. Obviously, it's quite subjective. There's many different things that come to play. But if you were to define that and make sure that it wasn't just how the judge feels, that what mood they're in that day, how would you define in the best interest of the child? And also, how would you define in the best interest of the family? And would there be any
I
differences or
I
overlap
thought
with
that was the
those?
most incredible question of the year. Honestly, I sat there and thought about that question for so long. Um, so what I have written here after much thought, the best interest of the child to me is the level of attention and love that they can that they can receive. But most importantly is when I think of the best interest of the child, I think of stability and do they what level of stability is going to be provided to that child. Now, I guess I didn't know that this question was in reference to possible wording in a bill or wording in a situation like that.
Well,
So
currently it's not necessarily wording of a bill. We're trying to maybe work towards that
yeah,
direction to make sure that there is clear understanding, not only for the families, but for those who are making those decisions for the families too, to make sure we have
yeah.
clear parameters of where that would be. So how about for the best interest of the family? Do you feel there's a different definition, or does that overlap, or is there differences?
Um, I think it overlaps a little bit, but whatever, to me, the best interest of the family is what keeps that family unit structure together. I mean, every family, I think, has that breaking point of what they can and cannot handle. And so when I think of the interest of the family, I think of what are the tools that they're getting to have the most stable framework possible. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of hard to nail that. So I'm kind of curious. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts?
Well, again, this is something we're cultivating the ground to see where that might go, because we don't have
Yeah,
clear answers ourselves. It's a very subjective question, and
yeah.
we are looking for answers ourselves before we just try and say, "Hey, we got an idea." Is there's so many ideas out there of what defines a family itself. I mean, would you would agree that there is no size limit, or families come in all sizes and shapes, right?
Well, certainly, I was basically an only child. I lost my sister at a young age, but I go to a church with family structures of I'd say the average family is 8 to 14 kids, and I think it's been fascinating to see how those families are structured, how they interact with each other. And to be honest, my worldview has kind of changed. It's like it seems like these larger families seem to hold together and be stronger than some of these families that only have 1 or 2 children. So to me, family size is not necessarily the issue. It's just what's the capability of the parents. Um, you know, there's so many factors involved as to what the right size family is, or
And you'd agree too that a split family is still a family.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I'll move on with a little bit of these questions here. Now, when we're dealing with the judicial system or the Child Protective Service Division of the Department of Human Services, those are obviously two separate divisions of government. But would you be in favor of more oversight and accountability to the judicial system, our judges, our attorneys, and to Child Protective Services, whether it be the administration, the social workers, et cetera?
To me, that's pretty simple. I've never had a problem with more accountability and keeping people held accountable for having checks and balances. Certainly.
Okay. Now, there's certain situations, obviously, that come up where a child is in immediate danger at that very moment, where we do need to step in to try and protect those children. But when it comes to actually terminating those parental rights, we want to exhaust all possibility of family reunification as well as family placement. And where would you say the breaking point is? That we've gotten to that line, we've tried everything that we can try, and these parents should now lose their parental rights because X, Y, or Z happened. What would X, Y, or Z be in your opinion?
Well, we have to define what abuse is, what or neglect. I think when I was thinking about that question, those were the two words coming up in my mind. What is abuse and what is neglect, and to what extent do you draw that line? That's a very tough line to draw. Um, but I guess I don't know how to answer that.
Okay, and that's fine. You know, there's plenty of questions that are these aren't your simple to answer questions. These are ones that do require a lot of thought and
Oh,
some
wow.
experience, and that's
Yes.
why we want to have a conversation. Feel it's
Yeah.
much better than just filling out a questionnaire that only we get to see. This way, everybody gets to be involved in the conversation. So again, dealing with the Department of Human Services, but in particularly the Child Protective Service Division,
Mhm.
would you be for or against an audit? Why or why not?
Well, I think audits, increase accountability, and so I think I don't see any reason with an audit. I was trying to think of it from the opposite point of view, and I don't see why somebody would be against an audit. But again, I'm open-minded on this. I shape my mind accordingly. But
Okay, and get my video working there. Okay, so we had sent you two different links that were to a couple bills that we have drafted that have been sponsored in the past. The first one was introduced in the Senate by Senator Mark Sagabart and in the House by Representative Jeff Shipley. That would be Senate File 2325 and House File 2471. Of course, those would get renamed this next year if they get introduced again. This is kind of a very long bill, is over 30 pages. I don't expect that you've digested all of that yet, but I'm going to just kind of lay out the general premise for it. What it is it would take the Child Protective Service Department out of the Department of Human Services umbrella, much like they did with the correctional facilities back in the 80s. This is not increasing government. This is not a privatization. This is just having it as its own individual entity so that the funds don't get lost in the general fund, that we can have more oversight, more accountability, as well as be able to truly provide services instead of just offer services.
yeah,
And we are hoping that that would have less children falling through the cracks, more parents getting the roads to unification. That's kind of our goal with that. Now, again, I don't expect you've had a chance to fully digest the bill, but just on the premise, are you supportive of that? What are your general feelings?
yeah. On the premise, it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if elected, would this be a bill? Of course, you'd want to comb through the details and maybe talk with Senator Sagabart or Representative Shipley, who introduced it. But if elected, would this be a bill that you would consider sponsoring?
Yeah. No, I thought from the 30,000-foot view of what I saw of it, I thought it made sense, and yeah, I could sponsor it.
Okay. Now, if you could please explain, what would you do to protect parental rights to maximize parenting time if elected?
Um, well, I certainly think that I think there needs to be more 50-50 time. Um, and I think I don't think dads, I see it over and over again. I don't think dads get a fair shake in the system. And this is just observation. I haven't dug into the laws and stuff like that on what specifically we can change, but um, I don't know. I definitely think that there needs to be some change with our 50-50 structure on, because I'm not seeing it. But
Okay, and I think that the majority of people would agree with you on that. So I think you kind of alluded to the answer of the next question here. Should a child have access to both of their parents as long as the parents are fit, willing, and able?
yeah, of course we got to define what fit, willing, and able is. But yeah, of course um, again I don't think dads are getting a fair shake in today's society. So.
Okay. Now, the other bill that we sent you, this bill has gone by the name Senate File 571 for the last few years. It was introduced by Senator Brad Zahn, and then it also got introduced in the House this last year by Representative Annie Osmondson. This bill is what we call our Child's Rights or Fundamental Bill, or our Shared Parenting Bill. That bill was a little bit easier to take a look at. Did you have more time to dive into that one?
No, I just talked to a friend about it, and he, off the top of his head, he thought he understood what I was talking about. So
Okay.
I didn't read the bill directly. No.
So the general premise of it is we're only changing a couple parts. Now, the first is to start parents off on equal footing, 50-50. You made the child together, divide it together. Now, if there is any grounds of neglect, abuse, one parent that's not wanting, or schedule differences, etc., then you would proceed to court as normal. You could even say that I don't like the haircut you have, and hopefully a ethical attorney would stop that lawsuit, and that a decent judge, even a halfway decent judge, would be able to see through any frivolous lawsuits like that and resort back to the 50-50 if there's not any true endangerment to the child. The other
Mhm.
part that this bill does is, currently, according to the Supreme Court, the right to be a parent and to protect our children should be preserved at the highest standard of proof, which would be beyond reasonable doubt. Currently in Iowa, it is a preponderance of evidence. Whoever can tell the best story, whoever can write the best affidavit, there is no verification of evidence. So we would like to take that up one standard to clear and convincing evidence, to
Yeah.
say that if you can't, if you're just saying I don't like his haircut and you can't prove how that endangered the child, that we would again revert back to the 50-50.
Yep.
So that's something that you would support?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, wonderful. We're flying through these questions this morning, so thank you. When dealing with we're not in any way advocating for parents not to take care of their financial responsibilities with their children, but when dealing with child support, if you get behind, it's 3 months and they are sending out that letter, and they can take your driver's license pretty much at any point. Do you feel that that is a good deterrent and a good practice that helps you get child support paid, or is that causing other problems? And that also goes for professional licenses as well.
So for what was the last part?
That also goes for professional licenses and driver's licenses that are being taken for being behind on child support.
And what was the time frame? Did you say when that happens? Did you
They
say
s-
months?
they send out the letter in 3 months. They can take it right away. Then it kind of they do have some flexibility. There are some programs that they offer, they don't necessarily tell people they offer unless they're kind of digging around for it. Usually there, you might get a lucky and have somebody nice who tells you about the programs. But after 3 months, they can take your driver's license. If you get behind more, I'm not quite sure what the timeline is, but they can actually throw you into jail for being behind on child support, even though we do not have the idea of a debtor's prison is unconstitutional in America.
Hmm. Well, you filled in some other parts of that question that I didn't think about. All I saw was the driver's license part of it on my questionnaire. And to me, I mean, I was trying to think of other ways that there would be repercussions, or incentives to pay child support. But under the driver's license thing, I guess I personally didn't have a problem with that. With 3 months, I think that's adequate time to figure out um, how to get things done. But when it comes to those other penalties, I guess I haven't thought about it enough to have a firm
Okay.
stance. But that seems harsh, but yeah.
So you think that 3 months it works as a good deterrent, even if somebody were to be sick, lose their job, be incarcerated, have a layoff due to COVID-19, that we take away their ability to get to work, and that we're still going to be able to get that child support paid?
Well, at first glance, I guess when I read that question, I kind of, when it comes to the driver's license only thing, I guess I was leaning for it. I guess
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. And that's when we can get you more information on. Again, there are
Yeah.
facts that show that it has been a good deterrent, but there's also been other facts that show that it has put other people farther behind, made it more challenging,
Yeah.
especially in a state like Iowa, that it's a rural state, and we don't have Uber everywhere. And even if you did, that's quite an expensive drive just to get from 20 miles in the country into the nearest small town sometimes. So there's definitely other factors to look at. There are also some federal guidelines that kind of intertwine with this. And so it's another one of those that we don't yet have a clear option, but we are trying to look at all angles, see what everybody else thinks, to be able to get a clearer path on how we can make this easier. The children get what they are needing, but where it's not going to punish the other parent who is usually doing everything they can. They just have a circumstance where they get behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we only have one real question on the survey here, and then everything's about you more. But well, this whole thing is about you and your opinions. But what importance do you feel a stable family environment has on affecting other facets of society, such as the environment, the economy, foreign policy, etc.?
I think it's the number one issue that we're facing. Um, in so much of this campaign, I look at these societal issues, and all I can think about is the real problem is the breakdown of the family. And for example, with Black Lives Matter issues and stuff like that, um, I mean, 70% of Black kids, don't have a dad at home. That responsibility doesn't just go away; it falls onto the schools, and so it doesn't surprise people that I'm a big school choice advocate, and I'm going to fight passionately for that. I think the best way to help these kids is to lower class size, and so that we can deal with some of those behavioral and cultural problems and stuff. But um, but how do we adapt to a society that does not protect families and help encourage healthy families? And um, I think it's a really disheartening thing to think about where we've come from and where we're possibly going. And I don't know if that helps shed some light on my thoughts, but I actually came from broken or divorced parents and stuff, and as a kid, and I saw personally some of the repercussions of that, and I think that is going to actually impact me for a lifetime in certain ways. And you got to sort through that stuff, but life's not perfect. But I'm grateful for my faith, and I'm grateful for a biblical worldview that helps give structure and guidance for me despite a broken family. So
Now, this one is not on the actual questionnaire, but when dealing with the current model for divorces, where we usually end up with a standard of every other weekend and Wednesdays when parents are disagreeing. Granted, if there is agreement, they don't even need to go to court, but more often than not, if you go to court, you're going to have every other weekend and Wednesday. Do you feel that that is kind of a cookie cutter model, just kind of standardizing it without really thinking of just putting these parents into that
that
position?
sounds like it. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think that a parent who is fit on the weekends is more than likely a fit parent?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you think that the approach that we're taking, start at equal, if there's grounds to look at it, that is less cookie cutter or more cookie cutter, same amount?
I think it's more common sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, when dealing with your campaign, again, we're on the final 11 days. There's not a whole lot of time. I wish we'd gotten some of these interviews done sooner. But what would you say your campaign is most in need of? Funds, volunteers, or exposure? Obviously, votes. But in relation to the others, what is your campaign most in need of for the last 11 days?
Certainly votes. I think things are looking good. We've been working hard, door knocking and stuff, but I believe that a third of the vote is in already, and I would just like people to help spread the word. I'm really encouraged by the support on the ground. I have nothing compared to with this experience, so it's all new to me, and some of the things that other campaigns have told me from their observations is they think we have a pretty neat campaign, and it'll be fun to see what we can do on the other side of this election to do some good. I definitely need prayers. That's my number one request all the time. And this is a new experience, new pressures that I've never felt before. But words of encouragement. If people can just send me an email and say, "Hey, we're thinking of you. We're here for you. If you need anything, here's my number." I can't express how much those things mean to me. And when it comes to funds, I'll just be honest. At this point, everything is in place, everything is paid for to finish this campaign strong. If people would like to donate, it would be more geared towards future purposes, for future capabilities to stay connected to voters. Yes, funds. I would greatly appreciate funds as well. So anyway, I think that's explains everything. So.
Okay, so again, that's Jesse Green at Green for Iowa, GreenForIowa.com. And you can find out more about us at familiesunite.org. green4iowa.org. You can be able to donate to us, which all of our organization, every single person is a volunteer. So those donations just go to help to keep our website up, to print more literature and materials, host event, and to do different conversations such as we're doing now. You can also go up to this main menu bar, and that will show you our 2020 legislative recommendations. We will be updating those within the next couple months to have our 2021 legislative recommendations. But you can click on any of these recommendations and it's going to give you an overview that not only tells you what the general proposal is, but what part of the code that it would affect and all the other details that you might be looking to find. So again, that is familiesunite.org. This interview was done with Jesse Green, who is running for Senate District 24, and you can find him at Green4Iowa. Jesse, any final comments, last words?
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I look forward to working with you guys. This is probably nothing gets more sensitive and important than the issues affecting families and their relationships, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future. So.
Wonderful. Again, thank you, Jesse, for joining us this morning, taking time out of your busy campaign schedule. Again, for those who want to find him, that is Green4Iowa, and you can find us at familiesunite.org. One more time, again, thank you, Jesse. Everybody else, thank you also. We appreciate you. We love you. Go vote. Thank you much.